Everybody, good morning.
Aye. Do you notice what's happening in America right now? You got one side talking to people like grown adults, and the other side talking to people like a disappointed guidance counselor, threatening to cancel recess, and nobody embodies that shift more than Hakeem Jeffries.
Democrat Representative Hakeem Jeffries, I like to call him the bootleg version of a Barack Obama because apparently that's who he wants to be when he grows up. He decided to take it upon himself to do a press conference. Oh, yeah, we're going to take the midterms in November. We're coming in November, and then we're gonna crush their souls. What? Well, what type of outrageous threats are these? You know, back in the day, we used to say, we're going to beat them up. Yeah, we're going to whoop their ass. You hear me? Yeah, we're going to stomp them on the ground. But no. Democrats have came up with a new terminology. They're going to crush our souls. Apparently, he thinks he's Kratos from fucking God of War. Say, boy, this has got to be the most comical situation I have ever seen in my life. The last 6 years for the Democratic Party has been just a roller coaster. Why you keep on trying to
Crazy, y'all.
I don't get it. Why you want Trump won? He freaking won, man. What are you talking about? Why you want? Oh, yo, we know what the American people want. We know. And then you had Kamala Harris do a freaking interview. She's drunk, I guess. I don't know. You know, she's always blabbering. You know? Oh my God, dude. I feel like I'm in a cyber.
What's happening in America right now? You got one side talking to people like grown adults, and the other side talking to people like a disappointed guidance counselor, threatening to cancel recess, and nobody embodies that shift more than Hakeem Jeffries.
Democrat Representative Hakeem Jeffries, I like to call him the bootleg version of a Barack Obama because apparently that's who he wants to be when he grows up. He decided to take it upon himself to do a press conference. Oh, yeah, we're going to take the midterms in November. We're coming in November, and then we're gonna crush their souls. What? Well, what type of outrageous threats are these? You know, back in the day, we used to say, we're going to beat them up. Yeah, we're going to whoop their ass. You hear me? Yeah, we're going to stomp them on the ground. But no. Democrats have came up with a new terminology. They're going to crush our souls. Apparently, he thinks he's Kratos from fucking God of War. Say, boy, this has got to be the most comical situation I have ever seen in my life. The last 6 years for the Democratic Party has been just a roller coaster. Why you keep on trying to speak for us? I don't get it. Why you want? Trump won. He freaking won, man. What are you talking about? Why you want? Oh, yo, we know what the American people want. We know. And then you had Kamala Harris.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday.
I guess. I don't know. You know, she's always blabbering. You know? Oh, my God, dude. I feel like I'm in a cyberpunk world, you know? I feel like we are in a cyberpunk world because you cannot literally make this shit up.
I am still never ready for those, man. But Hakeem Jeffries, you know, Team Obama, right? Gets on stage talking about Republicans. Let me get my speech together. But yeah, he's sitting up talking to Republicans like, you know, talking about him like he's the final scene in a dystopian movie. Either MAGA extremists are going to break the country or we're going to break them. Break their spirit? Brother, this is supposed to be a political movement, not Cobra Kai. And what makes this clip hit harder is the reaction from my guy, because he's reacting the same way half the country probably did watching it live. It's like, wait, y'all heard that too, right? I ain't tripping. See, the issue ain't even disagreement anymore. America has always had disagreement. The issue is some of these politicians genuinely sound irritated that opposition still exists at all. Seriously, not we need better policy, not we need to win debates. None of that. No, it's just break them. And that word matters because when politicians stop talking about, how do I say, persuasion and start talking about spiritual destruction, that's when regular people start side-eyeing the entire performance. I'm just saying. And what's crazy is they'll say that. Then turn around and call everybody else divisive 5 minutes later.
So we're about to do something. We're going to attempt to do something that hopefully we don't get in trouble for. So we're about to go vote. Apparently they took away our voting rights. So we see what happens. So we've just pulled up to my voting place. I don't think I can record it there, but I definitely can. Let y'all know if I get a sticker. So I just been in trouble. I guess it's not illegal. I still have my voting rights. I guess that was a lie, wasn't it?
Good morning, everybody.
So here is my voting sticker. My mom
She went to go vote.
my sister just finished voting, and Jim Crow didn't come and require a poll tax from us. So I think we still have our voting rights. Crazy thing, there were other black people there voting, and they all had IDs to present.
Interesting.
So where exactly was Jim Crow 2.0?
Let me know. Yeah, we're gonna blend a bit.
So we're about to do something. We're going to attempt
Now,
to do something.
this clip right here is why the internet has become dangerous for political narratives, right? Because for years, people have been told, well, as of recent for sure, people have been told voting in America for black citizens is basically one step away from 1857. You know, then this black woman grabs the camera, drives the vote, gets the sticker, sees other black people voting, and asks the simplest question possible. So, where exactly is Jim Crow 2.0? That's what makes this clip powerful. Not because it's polished, not because it's produced, because it's normal. And normal has become radioactive to political fear campaigns, all right? Notice, she didn't give some long speech. She didn't start quoting statistics. She just showed her day. That's what makes it really hard to fight. Real life ruins dramatic storytelling every single time. And honestly, a lot of people are exhausted. Not from racism debates themselves, but from being emotionally dragged into apocalypse mode every election cycle. Like the country has, you know, it's not even has, but like the country is 2 business days away from segregation returning. Meanwhile, regular Americans are sitting in Chick-fil-A trying to remember their email password.
Democrats invoke the pain of the past because they have nothing to offer for the present. They want outrage. They want division. They want Americans to fight each other because chaos is politically useful to them. Words like racism and white supremacy and Jim Crow 2.0. Let's take a hard look at what real Jim Crow was. This is Jim Crow. This is what Democrats call Jim Crow. That is Jim Crow. For whatever reason, this is what Democrats call Jim Crow. That is Jim Crow. This is what Democrats call Jim Crow. I know that some of these images can seem to be very jarring to many of us that haven't experienced that over the course of the past 40 years of my lifetime. I never saw these things. I never experienced them personally, but I have family members who have and who did. And that's why it is extraordinarily important for us to be very, very careful with what we compare to Jim Crow, because this country has come a very, very long way. Democrats invoke the pain of the past.
Then Wesley Hunt comes in with the visual gut punch, really. And this is the part people are scared to discuss, honestly. When, excuse me.
Bless you, brother.
But when you compare modern America to actual Jim Crow, you better be careful.
Get it out. Get it out.
Ooh, y'all know we're allergic to that BS. Ooh, give me a second. But yeah, when you compare modern America to actual Jim Crow, you better be careful, because real Jim Crow was horrifying. Real Jim Crow involved humiliation, violence, separation, fear. So when Hunt starts holding up actual historical images next to modern voting footage, she's basically asking, do words still have weight anymore? And that's deeper than politics. Because if every inconvenience becomes oppression, eventually people stop listening, even when real problems exist. That's just human nature. And the left keep on making this mistake where they think emotional intensity automatically strengthens an argument. Sometimes it just weakens it. Sometimes exaggeration accidentally disrespects history instead of honoring it. And I think a lot of Americans I'm starting to notice that disconnect.
They're calling on states like Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, and South Carolina as the potential states for the boycott to happen. They want black athletic talent to not show up to the schools.
Why?
They think this is going to protect political interests. In fact, it's going to backfire, as I just went over. Now, I want to read some of these comments. For example, Malik nails it. Black men ? Quote, they aren't demanding students without athletic scholarships leave those same campuses. Professors aren't being told to resign. Only black male athletes are expected to forfeit their education, NIL earnings, and a shot at a professional career.
NAACP this morning, in solidarity with the CBC, we are calling on athletes who are coming out of high school not to attend any state-funded schools of states that have moved to minimize our right to vote, to minimize our ability to elect candidates of our choice, and states that are seeking to create a sharecropping reality.
Wow.
Whether that state be Missouri or Mississippi. Whether that state is South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, or Florida.
There are so many issues here. But I think the bottom line is this. They're using young black men as chess pieces. So what's really happening here? Well, I think it's safe to say that the NAACP president doesn't really care about black lives in the way that you are led to believe. They're treating young black men who are athletes coming out of high school as chess pieces. Instead of saying, focus on your future, focus on your education, focus on your career. No, focus on politics.
But this is where the story takes a turn, because now we move from rhetoric to consequences. The NAACP and political activists are now encouraging black athletes to boycott schools in southern states over redistricting battles.
That's stupid.
And, DeVory asked the question nobody can dodge. Why are the scholarships always volunteered by other people? That's the part that changes the temperature in the room, right? Because it's easy for wealthy political figures and suits to talk about sacrifice, But they're not the ones losing the money, They're not the ones risking draft opportunities. They're not the ones escaping poverty through, athletics. The athletes are. And once people start realizing that, the whole thing stopped sounding noble and started sounding strangely transactional. Seriously, like young black talent has become a pressure tactic instead of human beings with futures. That's why this conversation exploded online in the first place. Because, man, Americans, they can smell when somebody's personal dream is being converted into political currency.
Don't listen to them. I'm telling you right now, they're not looking out for your best interest at all. I'm talking about the NAACP. They don't care about you. You've been working hard to get into this university, into this college, and here they come along trying to tell you, don't go. They're using you. Please do not let them use you. You spend all this time, all this effort trying to get in. You may have a scholarship. You may have other means of getting to school, and they're trying to stop you. Why would they do this? They want you to end your career before it even starts because their careers are about to end. That's what this is all about. They want to take you down with them. Do not allow them to do it. Do not allow these democrats to set what your destination is. Do not allow them to do this. It is your destiny, not theirs. And now they want to play with your destiny. What do you have to do with all of this? You have nothing to do with it. You have your own life to live. These democrats up on Capitol Hill, they're so mad because as of today, every single person's vote counts as an American vote. It doesn't count as a black vote. It doesn't count as a white vote. It doesn't count as
an American vote
other than American, and they're upset about that. So please, make your own destiny. Do not allow these democrats to determine what your life is going to be. Enough is enough.
He's right, you guys. Can't let them happen.
Do not allow them to do it.
God is in control. We in
Will
control.
Johnson,
We the
he
people,
takes it even further,
not the
right?
government. Good
This
morning.
clip
Good
works
morning.
because it's personal. It feels personal, not scripted, not consultant approved, not manufactured inside a DC strategy meeting with catered sandwiches and poll numbers. Right? He's basically talking directly, to young athletes. Why are you being asked to carry this burden? That question is because think about it. If these schools are supposedly unbearable environments, why are professors boycotting? Why aren't they boycotting? Why aren't administrators resigning? Why is the pressure landing specifically on teenagers with athletic scholarships? That's the question floating all through this debate, whether people admit it or not. And honestly, the wording matters too. A lot of these, activists talk. A lot of these activists talk about black athletes like they're symbols first and people second. And most of these kids are just trying to build a future for themselves and their families. And America understands that ambition more than, these activists realize.
You have black leaders telling young black people to give up on your dreams because if you don't, they might have to give up on theirs. Now, this is what the NAACP is all about. It's always been about elitism first. And to be honest with you, I'm not surprised at all to see this. We go back to see what the real seed of this organization was back in 1909. It was based on white socialists. So 20 of them and one black guy, W. Du Bois. They hated Booker T. Washington. It was all about his thoughts of faith, family, free market education. So understand, this is what the Democratic Party, the NAACP is all about. I'm hoping black Americans across the country realize that their issue is not about them. The issue is not about those that they're supposed to be serving. It's about the elitists who want to keep their power and do anything they can, destroy anybody's lives they can to make that happen.
Well, they also just want to ruin every bit of fun we have in the United States. They want to ruin. They don't like people driving too long distance. They don't like the fact that people love football. I mean, that makes them miserable. I'm convinced of it. And they're not just asking the athletes to boycott SEC, ACC schools. They're also asking families, fans, alumni, and consumers to do it. Congressman, I have a feeling that when I go to Tuscaloosa and I go to College Station and I go watch some of the greatest football being played this coming fall, those stadiums are going to be full. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh, no question. And keep in mind, what we're talking about is the dreams that these people have. They're working hard to get it done. And these people come across and say, you know what? Forget your dreams. Forget your hopes. Forget the fact you can get to the middle class and leave a legacy for your own kids. Think about us. Think about us here in D.C., these black elitists that by the way, Lauren, they vote against everything that would help the black community grow. They vote against choice. They vote against anything that helps the free market capitalism grow. These people, again, they're socialists and Marxists. I hope this is a wake-up call. They do not care about anyone but themselves. And this is a chance for black Americans to finally realize it's the Republican Party, it's President Trump. You heard that hopeful message? That is a message for everyone. And by the way, that was the message I grew up with. And it's
Then Burgess Owens closes the whole argument with the line, nobody on cable news wants sitting in people's heads for too long, y'all. What if this isn't empowerment? What if it's dependency management? That's the real argument underneath all this, because Owens is basically saying some political organizations only survive by keeping social tension permanently alive, not solved, not healed, just maintained. Because if people stop feeling emotionally cornered, they might stop needing people constantly. They might stop needing the people that's constantly warning them. And that is why this conversation, and conversations alike are getting so uncomfortable politically. Because Americans suddenly, they didn't suddenly become extremists overnight. All right? This is not how this works. But because regular people are starting to compare rhetoric with reality for themselves instead of renting somebody else's outrage package, you're seeing the shift. And once people start doing that, the emotional spell, it just wears off. That's why these clips actually matter. Not because they magically end debates, but because they force a question a lot of politicians don't want to ask.
Good morning, Florida. What's up, man? Good morning.
win. We come to compete. Now, that doesn't mean that
Protestant is their enemy. That's the common enemy that they have. They've always said it.
Thank you, Florida. No problem. Thanks for stopping by.
Of weirdos have all come together to form a fist to take you out. And nothing's new under the sun, y'all. Governments have done this before, but they can't control their populations. When they have a part of the population they don't like, they replace them. Hey, ask Adolf Hitler about it, right? He didn't like the Jews. He just replaced them. Stalin didn't like the kulaks. He replaced them. Mao Zedong didn't like the landlords. He replaced them. See where I'm going with this now? And they always want to catch you while you're asleep because you always believe because you're such good people. No one could ever do that. That's when they get you. Men and women have to be sober-minded. The reason why me and my family has excelled in the United States of America is because I always see them coming.
this brother is powerful. I am surprised that I have just been introduced to him maybe within the past month or so. But I am so glad that I have been fortunate or blessed enough to find this brother and to be able to present him to you guys. Before we get into the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love.
Subscribe. We're growing.
100,000 subscribers. Praise the Lord. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys supporting the channel, sharing the content, and just dropping comments that it continues to encourage me to do what I am doing. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Well, hello! I am so happy to be here with you tonight. I heard y'all been kind of looking for me, right? Well, I'm here. And I was around your beautiful city today, and I walked around it, and it's just beautiful. And I think I brought the heat with me. It's beautiful here. You know, our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, he was a country lawyer. He was talking to the jury, and he asked him a question. He said, if he had a dog, and you counted his tail as a leg, how many legs would the dog have? The jury said 5. He said no. Still be 4. Because the tail is still a tail.
Duh.
Because you call it a leg.
That's what I'm talking about, Vince.
Doesn't make it a leg.
That's what I'm talking about, Vince. Break it down.
This is kind of what we're talking about here tonight.
Break it down.
Just because you call something something doesn't mean that that's what it is.
Welcome to the chat, everybody. Welcome to the chat. This is Vince. He's going to cook for you guys. It's a long video, but it's worth it.
Man, I was walking through the city today. Just
like, share, and subscribe.
Join the people. And
name is Deunta.
On the side of the parking garage caught my attention. And it said, weaponize your privilege to save black bodies. You got a black man on it, looked like he did. And I was seeing some of the students, and I was saying, hey, what is that about? And a lot of them didn't know. And then one young lady said, I think it came from the Black Lives Matter protests and things that were going on here. And I said, weaponize your privilege. So who are they talking to? And she said, well, I think they're talking to white people. And I said, they're saying they have some type of privilege over me to save black bodies? I mean, what are they saying? And it dawned on me. I said, the left has a God complex. Black people think that they're inferior, and white liberals think that they're God. And black people are praying to white liberals to save their lives.
He is absolutely right. And that's why when I see the brothers and sisters in the comment section talking about what is the government going to do for me, and, you know, the Republicans haven't done anything for me, and the liberals, you know, they're the ones that's willing to at least listen to us, so forth and so on. You people have a inferiority complex.
Bingo.
Y'all same people talking about how y'all don't like white people, and white people are the devil, and they're racist, and they're this, that, and the third, but yet you are looking to them to save you. It makes absolutely no sense. That type of thinking makes no sense. A lot of you guys are suffering from Stockholm syndrome. You are. And to be honest with you, you have a lot of white liberals out there that don't know black people, that allow you to believe that you're a victim, try to continue to let you or make you think that you're oppressed, when you're not. Let's keep listening to this brother. He is going to break it down.
Weaponize your privilege to save black bodies. It reminds me of an outtake from The Godfather, which he left it in the movie, Francis Ford Coppola. It's an outtake. Vito Corleone is going to see his concierge, Jinko. He's dying. And he brings all of his sons. Jinko's not going to make it through the night. And Jinko's afraid. He's scared to death. He's lying there and he sees Vito come in with his sons. And he says, Godfather, save me from death. When death comes in the room, make some deal. He's seen Vito do all these great things his whole life, right? And he thought the Vito was like supernatural. He said, make a deal with death. Pull some strings, make death go away. And Vito looked at his old friend, seeing how afraid he was. And he looked at him and said, Jinko, I have no such power. Do not fear death. And Jinko said, well, then just stay with me. The left would tell the black community that we have that power. See, Vito told Jinko the truth. I have no such power. But when the black community goes to the left and they ask them, can you feed me? Can you clothe me? Can you educate my children? Can you make me like you? Can you make me equal to you? They say, yes, we can do it if you just give us your soul. And for 50, 60 years, we've fallen for that lie. And we're at the bottom of every socioeconomic statistic in the United States of America. Look at where they rule. Everywhere they rule. Detroit, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Memphis, everywhere they rule. Murder, mayhem, death, destruction, worse schools. They control every whorehouse, every crack house, every failing school. Haven't you done enough to my people? Haven't you killed enough of them? Haven't you put enough of them in prison, destroyed enough of their families? I hold you in utter contempt. And then you have the nerve to say you want to expand it. You have no shame.
Do you hear the passion? Do you hear the passion? He's absolutely right. Every liberal-led city in America, they are some of the worst cities in America for black people. He named them: Chicago, New York, Baltimore, New Orleans, Memphis. The list goes on. If it's liberal-led, they are some of the most unsafe places in America for a black person, and especially for a black man. Do you guys realize that from black men under the age of 25, the leading cause of death is homicide? And majority of those homicides are happening in liberal-led cities. It's not working. Please get off the plantation. We don't need any more of their victimhood and oppression. We don't need it. It hasn't been working, and it's not supposed to work. It's actually meant to destroy.
Great movie, Cool Hand Luke. When the woman told Luke he was doing these things to him for his own good. What did Luke tell him? I wish you stop being so good to me, boss. Well, I think that's about what the black community is ready to tell the left. I wish y'all stop being so good to us. We're going to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion tonight, right? We're dealing with people, y'all, who, at this present time, do not believe in science. Our Declaration of Independence say that we hold these truths to be self-evident. What is self-evident? That means that I shouldn't have to explain this to you. That's what self-evident means. There's some truths that are self-evident. That's a tree. No, it's not. Man, I ain't gonna argue with you about that. If you don't have enough sense to know that's the tree, yeah. That's the sun. No, it's not. Dude, that's the sun. No, it's not. No, Thomas Jefferson said some truths are self-evident. That all men are created equal. I shouldn't have to argue with you about this, okay? Oh, no. Not with the left. No. You can tell tell them the science says a woman has XS chromosome, man has XY. No, they don't. And you just look. It's fluid. Gender is fluid. So I can tell you today that I'm a woman, right? Yeah. And I can go to a woman's bathroom. Yes, you can. And then tomorrow I can tell you I'm a man. Yeah. See, it's insanity. And what we've done, we have become too politically correct to call it exactly what it is. We want to engage them in some type of intelligent conversation. Instead of saying, look, man, you need help. You need, you need to go to a psychiatrist. We need to put you in an institution. Something is wrong with you. The inmates are running the asylum. It's like anything else. Hitler gets power. What did he do? He made a bunch of psychotics around him. A bunch of crazy guys. And then they went to destroying the whole world. Stalin gets power. What does he do? Since he's crazy, brings a bunch of crazy guys around him. They go to killing their own people. Mao Zedong gets power. And what does Mao do? Brings a bunch of other crazy people around him. And they start killing everybody in the 60, 50, 70, 80 million people in China. Now, Castro got power. What did Castro do? Brought a bunch of crazy people around him. Started killing people in Cuba, just blowing people's brains out. Him and Che Guevara just went to town. Pol Pot, you name it. Somehow or another, insane people get power. And when they get power, they do crazy stuff. You take it all the way back to Nero, man, when he made his horse a consulate. We are living in that time right now, where insane people have gone at power in media and in government. And they are dictating to us state-sanctioned insanity. And we have to start calling it exactly what it is. I'm not going to entertain your foolishness, man. You're a freaking nutcase. And you need to be put in a straitjacket.
So appreciative of Brother Ellison. He's willing to stand up there and tell the truth. The policies of the left, they don't make sense.
They don't.
Anyone that has common sense can see the insanity around what they're trying to tell us. Men can be women. Women can be men. Men can have babies. What? It makes no sense. And he's right. They're pushing it not only in law, but they're pushing it on our children in schools. It's gotten completely out of hand. It's time for common sense people. It's time, honestly, for Christians to step up and say, no, we're not dealing with it. We're not accepting it. We're pushing back against it.
I'm not going to argue with you. When you engage a fool in an argument, you don't know who the fool is. You're the fool, you know. Intelligent man can't argue with a fool. And that's what we've been doing, and I refuse to do it. So we walk around saying, why do black people need DEI? Show you how stupid it is, okay? Show you how stupid DEI is. And I say this about affirmative action also. Okay, you say the government is racist. Yeah, the government is racist. And businesses are racist. Yeah, they are, and we need DEI and affirmative action. I said, so you're going to give the racist government and the racist business the ability to go into the black community and choose the people that they want to elevate. Who do you think they're going to choose, Malcolm X or Stephen Fetchit? Stephen Fetchit. They're going to choose the people that they want, the people that they are comfortable with. And this is why, after 50 years of affirmative action, we're still at the bottom of everything. Why? Because when they chose the black people they wanted. The people in the Black Caucus, bunch of Stephen Fetchits.
Absolutely. He took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say, see the Black Caucus. These people have been in power, and they've had the fact that they have a Black Caucus is ridiculous to me. You guys are in there to represent Americans, not just black people.
Right. Well,
stop it. But
good morning, chat. They cooking, chat. Let them come in and check. They cooking. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming to the chat. They cooking.
If you're black, they won't allow you into the Black Caucus. So why won't they just call it what it is? It's the Black Liberal Caucus. Because if you are a black conservative, they will not accept you. That just lets you know how intolerant the left is. They want all of us to be tolerant of their foolery, their debauchery. But they are some of the most intolerant people on the planet. What do? Black schools are the worst schools in the history of the world. 85% of the people are not proficient in reading or math. You can bring in school choice. No. Why don't you want school choice? Because, well, they won't tell you this. The teachers' unions give 99% of their money to these guys, and these guys, what? Then take care of the teachers' unions, give them a monopoly. So, you got a war zone going on down in the ghettos. Why don't you let people arm themselves, defend themselves? No. Why? Well, man, if you arm yourself, you can't keep, it's like when we want to sell the dope on the street, let the illegals in. People defend themselves, so we can't do that. Well, the people are Christian and they're Muslim and they're Jewish. Why don't you let them pray their religion? No. You kick God out of the schools.
Brought in drag
Brought the
queens.
drag queens in. Put the
Amazing.
Bible out to school. Brought the porn in. Took discipline out to schools. Now what you got? Children cussing out the teacher, fighting, raising hell, smoking blunts. And when you ask them to change it, no. Because that's exactly what they want. Based on that, I said before, I'll say it again, loud and proud, perpendicular on the square, that the left are nothing but a cabal of perverts, liars, psychopaths, and anti-Christian bigots. All they do is meditate on blood. But see what's coming over that border. Sex trafficking, fentanyl killing 100,000 Americans a year. And they will not stop it. They'll let Ukraine go down. Hey, if you just stop what's going on at the border, we're giving the money for Ukraine. No. You know what? They're replacing you. Better get ready for it. The white Anglo-Saxon Protestant is their enemy. That's the common enemy that they have. They've always said it. And that hodgepodge of weirdos have all come together to form a fist to take you out. And nothing's new under the sun, y'all. Governments have done this before. When they can't control their populations, when they have a part of the population they don't like, they replace them. Hey, ask Adolf Hitler about it, right? He didn't like the Jews, he just replaced them. Stalin didn't like the kulaks, he replaced them. Mao Zedong didn't like the landlords, he replaced them. See where I'm going with this now? And they always want to catch you while you're asleep because you always believe because you're such good people. No one could ever do that. That's when they get you. Men and women have to be sober-minded. The reason why me and my family has excelled in the United States of America is because I always see them coming. I was born on a cotton plantation in Haywood County, Tennessee. My father was a sharecropper when I was born. The most violent Klan faction in America was the Tennessee Klan. The Grand Wizard of the Tennessee Klan lived in my hometown, Brownsville, Tennessee. I didn't know this until I was reading David Garrow's piece in Standpoint Magazine about Martin Luther King Jr. He was talking about the FBI files and how legitimate they were. And he mentioned that. It almost blew me. I said, what? He lived in Brownsville? Here's the thing. I called my dad and asked my dad about it. I said, Daddy, did the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan live in Brownsville? He said, yeah. So you know where he lives? I said, yeah. Live right down. He told me exactly where he lived. I said, why didn't you ever tell me? He said, it did not matter because he wasn't going to bother me because I'd have blown his brains out. See that? Oh, but we was all supposed to be scared back then. My father, it did not matter. It had no effect on him whatsoever. I would have blown his brains out if he'd come near me. That's how I was reared. Always see them coming. And I'm using that to tell you right now.
Good, Brian. Good morning, Brian. What's up? What's up?
A generation, 2 generations.
This been going off about 30 minutes. This man, he be cooking, man. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Vince channel.
Of Black Americans. We've been like a scientific test for them so they can then put it all over.
Yes, he is. He dropping them bombs,
they know
man.
how to do it now. Oh, put the hip-hop music down there. N-word, B-word, W-word. Yeah. Let your children hear it. Wire them up to hate one another. And now they kill each other on the industrial level. They give them awards now, y'all. NAACP, yeah, they give rappers awards now. Give them awards for transitioning their children. And so it goes. Richard Pryor had this joke. He said that white people would see somebody in the black community high on heroin, and they say, "Oh Lord, isn't this a shame?" And then when he would come to the white community, he said, "Who's the epidemic?" His joke said that what starts in the black community ends up in the white community. And I'm seeing it. All the pathologies that we've dealt with since it started in the 70s and 80s are now being brought into the white community. And it's been bought by the left. People, DEI is a Trojan horse. Let me in. Let me in to choose your leaders, choose the people to elevate. Let me in. And I'll choose the best ones. Are you boss? Yes, I will. And then they end up getting the ones who are not going to be any good whatsoever because they haven't. Have they? They haven't. See, the proving ground, you guys, is the NFL, NBA. America accepts those young men on the football and basketball field because they know they all earned it. We have no doubt. This is why the Super Bowl we watched the last time was the most watched TV show in the history of television. All those black men out there on the football field, everybody's cheering. You know why? Because you know all of them earned their right to be out there. It is no doubt. Those coaches are not going to put you out there if you don't earn it. And we accept it because of that. This goes back to the biblical concept of why DEI is so dangerous, so misconstrued, so ridiculous. In our Bible, we can go right back to Genesis. I decided to read my Bible over again. I read it many times, but I started reading it again last year. And I read something that's going over my head 100 times. Thomas Wolfe said you can see things 100 times before you see it once. And I read Genesis and the story of Cain and Abel 100 times. And I missed this. We all know the story. Cain was angry because God had accepted his brother Abel's offering, and it turned down Cain's. God, understanding that Cain was angry, went to see his grandson, confronted him. And he gave Cain an insight into how the human mind works, how he had wired it up. He said, "Cain, why are you angry? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if not, sin waits for you at the door to master you, but you must master it." Think about that. God said, if you do well, will you not be accepted? Y'all, that kills DEI, that kills it. And it is proven to be correct every time. Jesse Owens goes to Nazi Germany in the 30s and beats Adolf Hitler. He gets a ticker tape parade in New York City. You can see it online. Just hundreds, thousands of people out there just cheering it. Black man beating a bunch of Nazis and Americans. Joe Louis knocks out Max Melling in Yankee Stadium at the eve of World War II. And everybody cheers Joe Louis, the black man. You have Jackie Robinson knocking his home runs. He finally gets called up by Rants Rickey. And then he becomes so good that nobody in baseball, no one in Major League Baseball can ever wear his number again. Number 42 is retired forever. Nobody can wear it. Muhammad Ali, shuffling, hitting, jabbing. They tried to put him in jail, took everything he had. At the end of his life, he said, "I am the greatest." What's on his tombstone? I'm the greatest. Why? They all did well. DEI on top, let us choose. You can't do it. You can't do it on your own. They have the nerve to say, they're superior to me. If you say you have some type of privilege over me, you're telling me you're superior to me. That's interesting, isn't it? I got a room full of mostly white Americans here right now. Which one of y'all got privilege over me? I want to see. Oh, nobody's standing? Why white supremacy. Which one of you is supreme over me? And we're correct. You know why? No one can be superior to me because I'm an heir of Jesus Christ and I'm a child of God, same as you. We are all equal. We are all brothers and sisters. We all have gifts. We're not like a herd of animals who all are the same and do the same thing. God made us all so completely different. Oh my goodness, one person can play a piano, one person can sing, one person can cook, one is a doctor, one is a mechanic, one is an HVAC man, one is a landscaper, and we make this beautiful society, and our job is to elevate each other's gifts. Elevate them.
What's up, Miles? He said, I was a coon. I guess you a coon yourself then. Those are slave words. Those are Democrat words. Get off the plantation. Welcome to the chat.
We are here to find what do you do well. God gave you something. And when you find it, man, that's a beautiful thing. If you're a lawyer, God, I want you to be a good lawyer because I don't want to be going to jail because you're not going.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
If you're a doctor, I want you to be a good doctor because I don't want to die when I lay on the table with you, man. If you're a good cook, oh, God, I love you. I want to pay my money. I want to eat my meals. Oh, man, here's a good tip. You know, the world is beautiful when we do that. But instead, they want to say, oh, I don't have what I'm supposed to have because of you. You don't have the power to hold me down. Walking around, looking at somebody I don't know, pointing at them, telling them, you held me down. No. And to every American, let me tell you this. I'll give you permission to say this to anybody. If somebody comes up to you and tells you that you are responsible for where they are in their life, you tell them this. You say, let me tell you something, man. If you need a good preacher, I'll help you find one. If you need a good job, I'll help you get one. If you need a good education, learn to read and write, I'll help you, I'll teach you myself. But I will not live in condemnation for you. You're going to not make me feel bad about your trifling behavior. And if you don't want to accept that, if you come and try to take anything from me or mine, I got two things that'll get you off of me, and that's Jesus and my 38. You better not try me. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's the message, y'all.
What up, Michael?
Brother. And then stand there and say, now what you want to do?
What up, Michael? What up? What up?
What you want to do? I'm not scared of you. Go walk up to me and try to condemn me because you didn't want to go to school. All this stuff started in the 60s with the civil rights movement. Black people were making gains, y'all. And I wrote this in my first book, Iron Triangle, and I wrote it in 25 Lies. I'd studied the time between 1940 after World War II.
Oh, yeah, Vince be coming with it, Michael, man.
And black people were closing the gap without any marching.
No sugarcoating, straightforward.
We had integrated baseball.
Raw.
We had cut our poverty rate from 80% to 30%. The black family was intact. 80% of our children were born in wedlock. Nobody was going to prison. And then the civil rights movement started and said that we were all victims. And then we need to come to government to help us. We were on our way to being like other minority groups in America. Jewish people, Asian people, people that descended from India, set aside but doing better than the white population. And then the civil rights movement happened. And now if you look at Black America, they've rejected it. The whole concept of believing that you could force compliance, force people to accept you, was insanity. You can't do it. It has to be a natural affinity for one another. You have to learn to love one another. So how was it supposed to work? All right, Martin Luther King walks up there and he says, and I saw this at the Lorraine Motel. I was there doing some research. They turned it into a museum. And they were looping his I Have a Dream speech. And I'd heard this speech 1,000 times. This time I heard it different because Kaepernick and all these guys are kneeling. They were angry. I was born on a cotton plantation. I'm not angry, right? What are these guys angry about? And I heard King say something that I said, that's the poison pill right there. King said, 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, the Negro is still not free. That is a lie. I was born free. According to John Locke, in his second treatise of government, my freedom is a gift from God. It is an unalienable right. That's why Thomas Jefferson used it in the Declaration of Independence. It's unalienable. It's given to you by God, not by government. It is irrevocable, non-transferable, and unsellable. So people say, well, they put you in jail. Have they taken your freedom? No, they have not. They've taken your liberty. Freedom is here. While you're in their jail, God is still going to hold you responsible for everything that you do. If you lied, you steal, to kill somebody, how you conduct yourself. Your freedom is here. And you're going to be held responsible for your freedom. So he says 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, we're not free. He said 5 times in that speech we were not free, and then we had to come to government for our freedom. It turned the Declaration of Independence on its head because Thomas Jefferson told the king, we are free. God gave us our freedom. And the king said, no, I gave it to you. Thomas said, we'll see about that. You want to ride this train? Come on, ride it. And then they signed the documents, and we pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Think about this now. The founding fathers knew King George was coming. King George said, when I get there, I ain't going to just kill you. I'm going to bring you back to Great Britain. I'm going to hang you till you're almost dead. Then I'm going to cut you open. I'm going to pull your guts out, and I'm going to castrate you. Then I'm going to cut off your limbs and some of the othermost parts of the British Empire. Just I'm going to do to every last one of y'all. And they said, sign the document and send it to him. We pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. That's why these guys are legendary. Instead, y'all want to give us DEI. Let us do it for you. Let us choose your leadership for you. Never me, never me. So if I see somebody with DEI on his application, I'm going to say it is dead on arrival as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to ride on the plane with him. I'm not going to let him be my doctor. And he sure can't be my friend.
Wow. Wow. That brother, Vince Everett Ellison, is awesome. He said a whole heck of a lot. And I agree with everything he said. Prior to the last couple Civil Rights Act, Black people were starting to really thrive. A plethora of businesses owned, hotels, cab companies.
So honor to have you, Mike. It's an honor to have you on the chat, bro.
Life insurance companies, car manufacturing organizations. I mean, a plethora of businesses.
Not a problem.
Not only were they starting businesses, but they were hiring their own people. 80% of kids at that time were born to unions.
Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's grow together, everybody. We growing. Common Sense channel, baby.
Killing, stealing, and thugging going on in our neighborhoods the way we have them today. We gave it all away. We gave it all away for victimhood and oppression. Martin Luther King led his people into a burning building. He did mention that prior to his death. I feel like I led my people into a burning building because we were on our way. And now you have people who make millions of dollars pushing victimhood and oppression on their own people. I've seen these DEI units. I've seen it. I've worked in corporate America, and I've seen the people that they hire. Heck, I've actually was offered an opportunity to be in a position or one of these DEI units. I turned it down. It just goes against everything that I believe in because I believe in working hard. I've worked in corporate America for over 15 years.
I don't know what he's talking about, Michael.
Everywhere I've been, as I continue to grow my career, I
Fun Day Kids.
Being one of the
That's a grown man name. Fun Day Kids.
Within the
I don't know about that, bro.
And one of the last
out of here.
places, I was in the top, 5% of producers in those areas.
A grown man named Kids behind it. What type of shit
and
is
I would
that?
tell people every day I come to work to whoop y'all tail.
Check his files.
And it wasn't something that was derogatory. I'm just an uber competitive person. So, of course, I played sports and things of that nature. Of course, I don't play to just play. I play.
Aye. Do you notice what's happening in America right now? You got one side talking to people like grown adults, and the other side talking to people like a disappointed guidance counselor. threatening to cancel recess, and nobody embodies that shift more than Hakeem Jeffries.
Democrat Representative Hakeem Jeffries, I like to call him the
I want to thank the leaders of several major pharmacies and generic drug makers who are partnering with us on this effort, including the co-founder of Cost Plus Drugs, Mark Cuban. Mark, thank you very much, Mark. Looking good, Mark. Come here, Mark. Nice to meet you. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. We have the same thing, one thing in common. We want to make people better and keep them wealthy, right?
I think other than you, I've been the biggest proponent of TrumpRx.com. And the reason for that is Republicans want cheaper drugs, Independents want cheaper drugs, Democrats want cheaper drugs, and together, I think we're going to do something special.
Okay.
First of all, you lie down with dogs, you wake up with fleas.
Correct.
All right, that's number one.
Wow.
I've always liked him, but this is a mistake. And once Trump puts his name on,
Because he not on y'all side, now you don't like him. Y'all was all on his man balls when he was on y'all show. Now he with Trump. He's evil. He's bad. What y'all got about him now?
prescriptions, we're all going to die, okay?
Now we're going to die.
He put his name on the Trump shuttle, the Trump vodka, the Trump University, the Trump Hotel, and my favorite, the casinos.
No problem, Mike.
Yeah. The drugs
I'm right here with you guys.
don't actually have his name. They're existing drugs.
Whatever. If he's involved with it.
No, I literally, a
What is
medication that I had to take for IVF is 1/10 of the price on Trump RX. I don't, whatever, it's tacky that his name is on it. Mark Cuban has dedicated his life to bringing down prescription drug costs. The average family, 1/3 of Americans cut back on essential foods and utilities to be able to cover their prescription drug costs. You're not going to convince me that just because Trump's involved, we should be like, screw it, don't bring down prescription drug costs.
Damn.
So to give y'all, which I'm sure you figured it out by now. So Trump and Mark Cuban have come together with to combine Mark Cuban's company with Trump RX, and in layman's terms, they're basically cutting out the middleman when it comes to prescription drugs, and so prescription drugs go from $1,000 to $17 or $20 or whatever it is, especially for folks who don't have insurance. Okay.
How you doing, C-Will? Welcome to the chat.
Attempting to do, and because these
never
folks
mind.
on The View are Trump deranged, they're all poo-pooing it because it's called Trump RX. And what you just heard her elaborate on there was the fact that, you're not going to tell me that this is a bad idea simply because Trump's name is on it. This genuinely helps American families. Like, just because y'all are rich and y'all ain't got to worry about prescription drug prices.
Not a problem, Mike.
Making life
Not a problem.
decisions at your local,
Thank you.
drugstore on whether or not you can afford your bottle of prescription, your prescription, whatever you need, doesn't mean that the average American family isn't.
It's crazy, Mike. They come to, they come to my chat or any other conservative chat and want to talk crazy in our chat. Talk crazy in your own Democrat left-wing chat. Don't come to conservative chat and expect for us to just all of a sudden, it's a Democrat or a left-wing in our chat. They're going to make some sense. And they don't. They don't know what a woman is. They still want to keep on pushing this agenda with the kids hurting themselves and men in women's bathroom. No. We're a party of common sense, a party of God. Jesus died on the cross for our sins. This is the party right here. America first. Let's continue.
And would it benefit?
You want to come to us over here to this side. If you can come to this side,
this is The View, and they cannot
listen up.
Get the Trump name.
Stop trying to troll.
Their head,
because you're gonna lose.
It has Trump's name on it. They try to poo-poo it. Here we go. Check it out.
Make a profit out of it. Don't take it.
I completely agree with that. I agree with you, Joy, on this one. No, he is a failed businessman, and if you heard
Doc
what
Rich,
he said
with it too.
We both want to make people wealthy. He didn't say
so. I should pay 10 times more
he
for
said
my
wealthy,
medication.
which means to me that there's something in it for him. This is not a well-intentioned
The presidency
person.
is something he cashes in on, Sonny, but what this does is it helps
Sarah, he is
American
not a
people.
well-intentioned
See?
person. He is not doing this from the out of
You
the
guys
goodness
are
of his heart.
no.
He's doing this to
Wow.
make money.
No one thinks he's doing
Joy,
it. We're the wealthiest country and we pay the most for drugs.
could be
The people
shortcuts
that are
involved.
literally suffering illnesses and cannot pay for their medicine, I can't think of a sicker business.
Subscribe. If you haven't already. Let's grow. Subscribe. Look at that.
Medicine, I don't care what you call it.
There are countries all over this world, especially in Scandinavia, that have national health insurance.
Correct.
They do not want to have that.
New
That
Jersey,
would bring
like
down the
America.
cost of drugs and health care.
But in the
They don't want that.
They have
call that
concepts of a
socialism.
plan, Joy,
Okay,
and right now this is a
you
plan.
are so
I'm going to go with
naive,
it.
the two
In
of
the
you.
meantime,
Wow.
you're saying,
Some of you are so naive.
if I may speak, so you're saying that in the meantime, while he remains in office for the next 2 years, people should just not have access to cheaper drugs because Trump put his name on it?
Anything he touches is safe.
That sounds stupid.
Today, I can literally order it.
They say that, but they rich as hell. They can afford all their stuff. Look at this. And if they're clapping the hands, stop it. The view is trash. They sending these people off, man. Damn. Get these people off the show, off the TV.
Prescription drug that I need for a tenth of the cost because of
They do give good content, but these people are retarded.
this, and it's not
Don't
just giving
believe
Trump
anything he says.
It's real. Go there.
He's a liar.
It is right there. I can get Follistim.
What I wish they had done collectively.
There he is now.
Was that my
breaking the wall?
I wish collectively they had found a way to make pharmacies where people could go in and get what they wanted, because generic drugs should be cheaper.
Yeah, of
And that was
course.
the whole thing with Mark Cuban. I think what people are responding to
Gotcha.
is the fact that his name
Got you, Mike. No
is
problem.
really
And his affiliation with
well, no. I think if it had been Mark Cuban's name on it, we would not be having this discussion.
Because anything he touches is tainted.
Oh, you said the quiet part out loud. She said the quiet part out loud.
Admit it. If it had Mark Cuban's name on it, they wouldn't have anything to say. But
Damn.
because it has Trump's name, now all of a sudden it's a bad thing.
Go nuts.
Which tells you that it's actually a good thing, but they don't want to admit it because, of course, it's Trump. So if he does something good, he'll never get credit for it because he's just Trump. Like, it's so silly. Like, people are literally saving thousands and thousands of dollars, and you heard.
Her peoples are descendants of slaves. Obama, all the presidents, except for Trump, are descendants of slaves. Owners, except for Trump. Yeah, Sonny, she knows she is. I'm surprised they don't air that and show that.
I forgot her
More.
name, the so-called Republican lady at
I thought I was Puerto Rican. No, you ain't. You bogus.
the table say, yo, I've looked at this stuff. Like, I've seen it. I've saved money on it. And Sunny Host is like, well, now you can't believe him. And she's like, well, I've done it already. Like, I've used it. Like, it's real. Now you can anything that he's touched is tainted. Like that's all. But this is the definition of Trump derangement syndrome. People are saving
At its
thousands and
finest.
thousands of dollars. This is real money that average American citizens are saving on their prescription drugs. And Sunny Hosting just can't get past the name Trump. That's all she hears. That's all she sees. And I've said this before. And some of you probably remember this experiment, the Pavlov's dog experiment. You know, when they ring the bell and the dog starts drooling, it's like, bro, it's like that with Trump, with these Trump derangement folks. They hear the name Trump, and it's the only thing that they can focus on. They can't see, they can't smell, they can't hear anything else except for Trump. They hear the name Trump, and it sets off this immediate reaction within them that just, oh, I hate Trump, I hate Trump, I hate Trump, I hate Trump. You see it in Sunny Hostin right here. She doesn't hear a single thing. I believe her name is Alyssa. Alyssa is saying at the table, like, yo, this is super beneficial. This actually works. I've looked at it. I've used it. Blah, blah, blah. This genuinely helps. Hey, the average American family.
Right, Lisa Farrah Griffin, and she going against Trump a whole lot of times. For her to agree on this one, kind of speaks a little volume. I still don't trust her, but at least she is making some sense here.
Is making changes on how they purchase things because of the high prescription drug costs. So this is actually a really
Guess what? Hate to bring it up. Whoopi Goldberg in the files, in the Clinton files, but she dismissed that. Everybody went with it. No, you in the files just as much as Jeffrey, Hakeem Jeffries is. That black lawyer that talking to Epstein on the trial. She was having a trial with somebody and she texting Jeffrey Epstein. What happened about the outrage to that shit?
Mark Cuban has dedicated his life to lowering the cost of drugs. So, hey, listen, this is an awesome thing. But she can't hear any of that because she already heard the name Trump. It's just like the Pavlov's dog experiment. They're conditioned. When they hear the name Trump, it's an instant anger response. Instant. And this is there's no better example of it than right here in this clip. But let's continue. I'm going to shut up now.
You all good, Doc?
People have been really sort of screwed over, right? Yeah. Over the last several years. I think that's what you're responding to.
Yeah, she said it.
She definitely said it. Not wanting cheaper drugs.
Right,
I think it's responding.
I think it's easy to say it at this table because we can all afford our drugs.
I want to know
Oh,
But even
the View's starting to speak a little truth here. A little quiet pause here and there.
honestly,
let me finish my point, and then y'all can go
Yeah, y'all
back
can
and
afford it.
zoom in.
yes.
You know,
Whoa.
I just think that the better way to have done this would have been to have united
Right, Brian.
pharmacies and said, listen, if you need to come in, here's the card you need
They're supposed to have dinner
Here's
together.
the card you need to bring. And you come in and we'll take care of this. And all four of them could have gotten together to do this. All four of those folks who he's in bed with, the generic folks, could have allowed it. So there is money to be made. There just is. Generics used to, everybody's making
remember Obamacare, we had that. A lot of people benefited from that.
We
but
still have
Obamacare. They would love to get rid of that. It helps people.
Understood.
What people?
Everything you all are saying is correct.
I would not want any American right now to be hesitant to buy drugs on this website because they're coming from an outside. It's a marketplace. It's not I mean,
yes, but
these are drugs that are trusted.
The same thing about the damn booster shots, the COVID shots. Stop it, Melissa.
But you have to know that people don't understand. People,
but I don't want to scare people away from getting cheaper drugs when they're way too expensive.
But I think people are going to do what they do. But I think everybody should say, be cautious when you see his name on it.
Yes,
because when you saw Mark Cuban's name, you were fine.
Right.
Yes.
Well, he didn't put his name on it because he's Mark Cuban and not Donald Trump.
But everybody knew who was doing it.
Is a Philly.
So silly, man. So silly. The very definition of Trump derangement. If anybody ever wants to know the definition of Trump derangement or wants to see an example of it, just show them this video clip. Come back to this video and play that clip of Sunny Holston just absolutely losing her mind and not hearing anything else that Alyssa had to say or the other young lady had to say. I can never think of their names.
Okay, nobody can. The blonde one.
Is there names on them? No.
The blonde.
But yeah, just play this clip because that is the very definition of Trump derangement. Couldn't hear anything else except for Trump. She heard it, and that's all she focused on. That's all she could hear. Nothing that anybody else had to say that was good, that was positive. You know, obviously good and obviously positive.
Bruce, how you been?
After she heard Trump, it all went out the window. Every single bit of it. But hey, shout out to Uncle Trump. Shout out to
Oh man, thanks, Bruce.
for doing a fantastic thing for the American people. I don't think them making a couple of dollars off of it is a bad thing. Right. At the end of the day, it's still cheaper.
Jeff Bezos.
The founder of Amazon has come out swinging, and certain people are not happy about
Thanks,
it.
Bruce. Really appreciate that super chat, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. You guys check out Bruce. You got a channel as well. Like and subscribe to Bruce's channel. He goes live as well sometimes, so he goes live, period. Check him out.
The tax system more progressive. How about we start by having the
You told Harpo to beat me.
Why is somebody at all? Why is a nurse in Queens who makes $75,000 a year paying more than $1,000 a month in taxes?
Right.
That's $1,000 a month that could help with rent or groceries or anything.
Of course.
And by the way, do you know
We're growing, Bruce. We're growing. Look at that. We're growing.
Half of income earners in this country pay only 3% of the taxes.
Wow.
So it's only 3%. We can find 3%. So we don't have. It's a small amount of money for the government. You know that, and really, and the more I thought about it, to me, it's kind of absurd that we're doing this.
Again, check out Bruce's channel.
Asking this nurse
check out Bruce
to send
he
money
going
to
live
Washington.
too.
They should be sending her to
That's
man
right.
of faith,
and in a
man of
city as
God.
unaffordable as New York, you'd think people would get this. If you live in New York City and you make $75,000 a year, your effective tax rate's 24%. But
Again, check out Bruce's channel. He's a man of God. Check him out.
he didn't stop there.
These days, it feels almost impossible to pick up a newspaper without reading a headline about wealth in America, about the billionaire class, about wealth inequality and policy and everything else. And I'm so curious, before we even get into everything else, what you think about that
What do you think about being attacked, Jeff?
Well,
What do
first
you
of all,
think?
Andrew, I'm glad you're asking the question. I think it's a really important topic.
Of course.
And I think it's an important one to discuss because I see the same thing you do. You know, you see it in a bunch of headlines, you see it in a bunch of places. And I have been thinking about like what is driving this? It does seem different from 10 years ago. And
Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate that. It's gonna be a wild one. You already know.
what's going on
You already know.
is that it's kind of a tale of two economies. So you have a bunch of people in this country who are doing really well, but you also have a bunch of people in this country who are struggling.
He's right.
Who pay rent, groceries, and so what's happening here is politicians are using the kind of age-old technique. So there's this tale of two economies.
And it's happening right here in New York City. You've got people dealing with insane $5,000 rents for a one-bedroom, groceries, like $10 milk, and you've got the politicians here saying it's the rich guy's fault.
They're using this age-old technique of, picking a villain and pointing fingers.
Yep.
But the problem is that doesn't solve anything.
No.
And so, like, if you want to help the group of people who are struggling, you have to figure out real root causes and solutions, and that takes skill. It's like if we have a problem at Amazon, the way we would fix it is we would go in and we'd do the 5 whys and we'd try to get to a root cause. We try to find a root fix, and then when we fix it at the root, you're fixing it forever.
Oh, this is such an indictment of the progressive socialist agenda in these deep blue cities. Here he is saying, if we've got a problem at Amazon, we look at it, we figure out what it is, and we get rid of it. And it takes skill, insinuating that people who live in a problem-ridden place like New York.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, chat. Thank you, guys, man. It's gonna be a great ride. I promise you. I'm right here with you guys. Without Trump, we got this. On the real, we got this.
Or do not have such a thing.
And what we don't do, because it doesn't work, is just point fingers and blame people. It might feel good for 10 seconds, but doesn't accomplish anything. And so what could you really do? So, like, you have a plan? I have some ideas. I have some places to start.
Start. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I started thinking about this and doing some research. A nurse in Queens.
This is what got Mamdani so angry.
$75,000 a year.
Right, we got it from here. Yes, right, Bruce. We got it from here, Bruce.
A year in tax. And by the way, do you know what that all adds up to? The bottom half of income earners in this country pay only 3% of the taxes. It's only 3%. We can find 3%. So we don't have. It's a small amount of money for the government. That. And really, and the more I thought about it, to me, it's kind of absurd that we're doing this.
Yeah, it is.
We shouldn't be asking this nurse in Queens to send money to Washington.
Yeah.
They should be sending her to Palm.
Yeah, New York should
It really makes no sense.
Right.
Okay, but then on the other end, the question is, should you be paying higher taxes to pay for the 3%?
That's a double.
component part of this that you think is going to need to be paid for, if not more than that, given the debts we have?
This is the critical question, because everybody knows the nurse in Queens that was just brought up shouldn't be paying any more than she has to, especially when that money contributes very little to the overall spending problem America and states and cities like New York have, by the way. But what about him? Does he pay his fair share? That's the entire national conversation that will govern the midterm elections. And wait till you hear his answer.
Let me ask you a question, though, about great wealth, though. And
it's going after the
other
billionaires.
issue around on the tax front is whether
Yeah, $39 trillion in debt, man. That's crazy.
And Elizabeth Warren has made this point repeatedly. I think she's made it in reference to you and others. Are able to pay a lower tax rate, even though you're paying an enormous sum in taxes, a lower tax rate than maybe I am.
Is he paying his fair share?
Sometimes say that I don't pay taxes. It's so true. I pay billions of dollars in taxes. And it's a perfect, again, if people want me to pay more billions, then let's have that debate. But don't pretend, that's going to solve the problem. You could double the taxes I pay, and it's not going to help that teacher in Queens. I promise you. So you can't connect those two things, not logically. There are more examples. Why is rent expensive? Why is rent so expensive? I recently saw somebody blamed it on Airbnb.
No.
Okay. Airbnb is not the cause of expensive rent. In fact, it's been almost, let me finish here 1 sec. It's already been outlawed in New York City, and rents are still very high. So we know Airbnb isn't causing high rents. What's really causing high rent is government intervention.
Less government, baby.
If you double his tax,
Less government, the better.
the country is still going to waste all of that money. It's still going to spend more than it should be spending.
It's certainly a perfectly valid policy debate to say, do we want an even more progressive tax system? So, the kind of the line that gets quoted all the time is, the wealthy should pay their fair share.
Yeah.
And we can argue about what the fair share is.
It's never fair enough.
Debate. That's okay. But the vilification is the thing that's just the distraction. And by the way, if you really are being honest about it, we don't have a revenue problem in this country. We already have the most progressive tax system in the world.
Jason, good morning. What's up, man? Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for the super chat. As you can see, I don't ask for nothing. I appreciate you guys blessing me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's continue.
Pay only 3%. We have already, and I think it should be 0. I don't think it should be 3%. I think it should be 0. So we make it more progressive.
Going to be mad about that.
We actually have a spending problem.
A spending problem. He said we have a spending problem in America, and he's right. And you know what the problem with spending problems is? Eventually, they spend everybody else's money, and it's all.
Kimberly Grace, please stop with the BS on the trolling. All MAGAs are violent and dangerous. Stop it. Stop the jokes. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, guys. You already know it's the left, the Democratic Party. And I can show you of countless videos of the left. And I guarantee you can't show me one video of a right doing something wrong. It's always been the left. Teen takeover, that's the left. LGBTQ, whatever, plus, shooting up church, school, and traffic. Left.
All gone, and everybody's bankrupt, and people are worse off than before the spending problem. That's why we got to deal with this stuff.
And that's a skills issue. I mean, let me give you an example.
Not a problem.
New York City.
Get them out of here.
They spend $44,000 per student. 44,000.
Yeah,
that's 30%.
If they ain't trying to have no good conversation in the chat, get them out of here.
Wasting their money.
LA and Boston, and it's 3 times more than Miami and Houston.
Get them out of here. They ain't trying to come with a conversation that makes some sense and make us want to think. Get them out of here.
Listen, let me just say, if we ran Amazon the way New York City runs their school system, your packages would take 6 weeks to arrive. We'd have to charge you a $100 delivery fee, and then when the package did finally arrive, it'd have the wrong item in it anyway. We can't. That's just
chat. Michael Warren, chat. He ain't playing around. Get him out of here.
So, New York City, skills
Michael
issue.
Warren.
Can't solve its own problems, screwing
Get
everything
him
up,
out of here.
making everybody's lives worse. And, to a lot of people, it's finally refreshing to see somebody who is sitting in an accomplishment, a capitalistic accomplishment. This is his space Blue Origin base right here. Look at all the stuff surrounding him in the interviewer. All of it was not built by government. It's finally nice to see somebody who's benefited from capitalism out there defending it. But what about the mayor's idea that because we have a budget problem, we need to raise taxes on the richest of the rich so that everyone can live in New York?
The Moose Party.
And all live happily ever after. What about that?
Revenue. The issue is that we have a big budget gap.
Okay.
Whether you're the federal government or whether you're a city. I mean, I was going to ask you about what you thought of the pied-à-terre tax in New York, and what you thought of what's happened with this Ken Griffin video that the mayor made.
Billionaires. Yeah, there's two different. I think there are two different things about that video. On the one hand, it's perfectly fine to have a policy debate about whether you want to have a pied-à-terre tax.
Right.
The second piece, which is not so good, is to go stand in front of Ken Griffin's house and act like he's some kind of villain.
Yeah.
Ken Griffin isn't a villain. He hasn't hurt anybody. He's not hurting New York. In fact, quite the opposite.
He's improving it.
So that piece of
He in Miami.
Right. And there was no
He not even in New York. He in Miami.
Second home tax.
There's a very taxes on out-of-towners are very popular taxes. That's why there are hotel taxes. And, hotels always have very high tax rates because why not tax the tourists? And there are limits. If you raise the hotel taxes too much, tourists stop coming.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to be judicious. But I think that the pied-à-terre tax is a fine thing for New York to do. And, but it's a policy debate.
Right.
Policy debates don't have to be.
No matter how rich you are, everything has a limit, period. You can tax as much as you want. Still, what's it going to solve? It's going to cut this out. It's going to lose this. It's always something going to be cost. It's always a sacrifice.
Finger pointing. This is the piece. So
you're not going to sell your place.
Unfortunately, it is an effective political technique. It's as old as the hills.
Right.
So when you don't know how to solve a problem, create a villain, blame them.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening here. But
and my thing is, follow the billionaires. The billionaires, they want long-term wealth. Long-term wealth. That's how you stay a billionaire, and that's how they became billionaires. Come on, you guys. The billionaires, they ain't always perfect. They ain't perfect. But at least they want long-term, situations. And I'm with that.
here's the reason he doesn't think New York's second home tax, which generated a ton of controversy, is actually that big of a deal. And it's probably because the numbers don't add up the way the mayor told everyone in New York they did.
I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax. Mayor Mamdani, great idea, but you do have one big problem. The billionaires you're trying to tax may not even qualify because New York City's system is so broken. A penthouse sold at 432 Park Avenue for $87.7 million. The city assessed it at $1.6 million for tax purposes. Sting bought the apartment for $65.7 million, assessed at $1.89. President Trump's personal apartment in Trump Tower, the city assessed it at $2.6 million.
Okay, Michael, I hear both of you guys. Okay.
Get a tear tax. While these luxury condos are assessed at a fraction of what they're worth, rent-stabilized buildings down the street pay nearly 5 times more in effective tax rates. 5 times more. And
that's why the teacher in Queens is getting hammered in New York, and the billionaires are still skating by. This is why the second home tax isn't going to do all the miracles the city put forth when the mayor went out there and made that controversial video. Also, at the exact same time, New York City, $5,000 a month for one.
Right, the mayor can go to people's houses and dox them, but soon Nick Shirley does it, it's a problem. That's crazy.
One-bedroom apartment, $3,000 for a studio that's the size of the room I'm sitting in right now. These are absurd prices.
We subsidize demand with things like tax policy, which is fine. But at the same time, we constrain supply. We constrain supply with things like zoning and permitting. Why does it take so long to get something permitted to build? Look, if you want rents to come down, Econ 101 is really simple. You need to, you can't sort of subsidize supply. Subsidize demand and constrain supply. If you do, prices are going to skyrocket. But this is not anybody's fault other than government policy.
What he's talking about right here is somebody like Mayor Mamdani's idea that you're going to jack up taxes on rich people so that more people can live in a place that already doesn't have enough apartments for people to live in. All that's going to do is make the prices of these apartments go through the roof, because if you have a $5,000 apartment...
Get the wrong, Mike. Get your smoke on, Mike. Get your smoke on.
The landlord, they can only rent that apartment one time. So what are they supposed to do? They got to pick somebody. And how do you pick who rents it? Well, somebody's going to have to offer more than that. And we're already seeing this. We're already seeing bidding wars in the rental market here right now that are very extreme. There's very little inventory. Now, at the same time, as we have people like the mayor of New York out there being very upset with the idea that a teacher in Queens would pay lower taxes, or being very upset with the idea that taxing a billionaire won't actually fix a teacher in Queens's problems, we've got other people out there who think that it is possible to find some sort of compromise solution with a mayor who totally believes in socialism.
Champion everything. Did you get to him?
Yeah, I mean, listen, my conversation with him, and you and I have spoken about this, I agree with his platform on affordability. We just disagree on the execution. I think you have to do it with growing revenues, and the best way to do that is work with the business community and the private sector, not by taxation. I also think he learned very quickly when Wall Street did well, his deficit in the budget actually collapsed because of revenues from taxes.
When did Mamdani learn
That's the best way to get taxes. People make big wages, collect it because they're doing well. And I think it's very clear after meeting with Jamie Dimon, he met with, and David Solomon and Brian Moynihan and Jonathan Gray, all Wall Street execs, that we have to make sure New York City's the capital for financial services.
Right, get y'all smoke on. Appreciate it. Get y'all smoke on. That's what's up.
So here we have a former Obama economic advisor who is out there saying that Mamdani has learned to work with the private sector. He's learned that it's great when billionaires get rich. I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing any of that. Now, Mamdani has been on a bit of an apology tour, but that apology tour started before tweets like this criticizing the idea that somebody like Jeff Bezos, who's created jobs and built so much wealth that his own particular net worth pales in comparison to the value he's brought to the world, that guy's not doing his fair share for all of us, not making the country better at all. Oh, no.
Hey, writes Mamdani's out of touch with the impact of real estate taxes to city coffers. I mean, you know very well how steep those prices are here in New York City. Real estate industry generated tax revenue rose to a record $40 billion in fiscal 2025, accounting for half of locally generated tax revenue. It was the largest source of funding for the city, easily besting the totals for personal income, corporate, and sales taxes. And he's demonizing and going after the very people who pay those taxes.
Absolutely. And to your point, the theatrics have got to go, because I think he put Ken Griffin's family in danger by doing that. So I think that was completely out of line. But we're seeing now Florida turn into Wall Street South as a result of these policies. I mean, the numbers we're seeing in Florida, we've never seen before. We had $39.2 billion of net worth coming into the state. That's $4 million per hour. And you're seeing that as a result of New York and California's policies.
Now, the question is, how do people get out there? How can you believe that there is some sort of compromised position here? You have people in America like Jeff, who not everybody has to love. You don't have to love the guy, but guess what? He didn't steal his money. All of this was built by money that was generated through economic activity. He didn't steal that money. He didn't get to tax somebody to build that hangar they're sitting in right there. And you know what? The value that he has brought to the world greatly eclipses his personal fortune. That's how things work in capitalism. You can't get rich unless you make everybody else rich first. So whether or not you like somebody, their wealth is a byproduct of what they have done for the economy that they are in. How do you compromise with somebody who says that's wrong? How do you compromise with somebody who says wealth is evil, right? There is no compromise with that. What do you just have a little bit of communism? You just punish them a little bit more? Sure, we can have the debate all we want, but it's not helpful. And it's forcing people out, this attitude.
I honestly, when I started selling real estate years and years ago, I never expected these numbers. But we're also seeing, last year we saw 361 sales above $10 million. That's basically one sale a day above $10 million. So I think this is going to continue. And I really do believe, Sandra, that this migration is permanent. It's not like COVID. You're seeing these executives relocate their families, and you're also seeing this in the schools. All of the private schools are overbooked. There's waiting lists as a result.
Which is why my next question is did he allude to wanting to woo those Wall Streeters back?
It's impossible to do that. Once people put their entire family in a U-Haul and drive 2,000 miles south, they're not going to make that drive again. They're going to reestablish themselves, and they're not going to pull up their roots again. Like, do it at once is hard enough. And that's the crazy thing here. New York City, we've got these absurd rents. And the goal isn't to fix those rents by building our way out of it. The goal is to keep the supply where it is. Don't build buildings bigger than 4 stories in certain neighborhoods. No, don't do that. At the same time, let's
take the dogs out for a walk. Man, that's what's up.
The rents. Let's take all the profit out of this game. Anyways, I think this is a fascinating interview. I think it's refreshing to see somebody get out there and defend the things that make America a great country to live in. Government didn't build any of what Amazon has accomplished. You don't have to like Amazon, but the government didn't build that. The government hasn't built anything close to that. You can't even get the post office to run correctly. What do you think about all this? I will see you in the next video.
Has ever done. He went 37-0 in Republican primaries in a single night. Not 37-1 or 37-2. 37-0. Perfect. Flawless. Total. And the shockwaves are still reverberating across the DC establishment right now.
Get a dog you got, Mike.
Stick him in the very end of this video, because we're about to find out what happened this week is not just a story about primary results. It's a story about how one man single-handedly dismantled a century-old political machine, rebuilt it from the ground up in his own image, and is now putting the finishing touches on the most complete political transformation in American history. You're not going to want to miss this. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, enjoying yet another absolutely
that's what's up, man. You got 2 dogs. Okay.
That you made possible back in November of 2024. So if you want a front row seat as you continue rewriting history in ways that no one, not even the experts, could possibly
Yeah, through the screen. Through the screen.
all about you, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, every week, I take patriots like you on a walk where we slow down, step away from the noise, and think clearly about what's really happening in our world and what your family can do about it. It's called Turley Walks, and it's one of the most popular things we do inside the Courageous Patriots Club. Right now, you can get a free preview episode, no commitment required. Scan the QR code on the screen and start your free Turley Walks preview today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. 37-0. It's simply unprecedented. A single-day record, unlike anything we've seen in modern American politics. Every single candidate Donald Trump endorsed in Republican primaries across Kentucky, Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Idaho, Pennsylvania, they all won. 37-0, not a single loss. But that number alone does not capture what actually happened in this week's primaries. What happened on Tuesday was the final decisive proof of something much bigger, something frankly historic, something that once you understand it fully will genuinely change how you see this presidency and this moment in American history. Without question, the 2 biggest
3 miles, that's
of
what's
the
up,
night
man.
were Thomas Massie in Kentucky and Brad Raffensperger in Georgia. Let's start with Massie. Representative Tom Massie has held Kentucky's 4th congressional district since 2012. He usually won his district by 30 points. He was entrenched. He was considered by
I grew up around dogs myself. My wife, she did not like cats at all. She did not like
Over the last
cats.
several months, that Trump's
I
attempt
love all
to get
animals.
rid of Massie was totally and foolishly futile.
A Jack
Massie
Russell,
had
okay.
unassailable support in Kentucky for, and Trump was blatantly kidding himself, thinking he could get rid of Massie. And lo and behold, Trump endorsed a challenger against him, a newcomer, a former Navy SEAL named Ed Gulrine, who had virtually no name recognition before Trump's endorsement. More than $33 million flooded into that race. making it the most expensive House primary in American history. The vast majority of Massey's money reportedly came from outside Kentucky. Both sides dug in. This was going to be the ultimate face-off between the libertarian wing.
If you want something bad enough, you'll figure it out. That's true.
Of the MAGA movement itself. And the result?
Especially if you do it the right way. Man, that's a heck of an earn.
Won by 10 points. Then there's the
a heck of a reward, I should say. Reward.
Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State. This is the man who became a liberal media darling in 2020 for defending and protecting the election chaos and fiasco in Fulton County. He's a Republican, but he is as anti-Trump, never Trump as they come. And he promised to continue his anti-Trump crusade as governor of Georgia, except for the fact that the voters told him to go crawl back under the rock he came out of. Georgia Republican voters buried him decisively, completely, and publicly repudiated. The one and only Scott Jennings, CNN's own senior political commentator, said it best on live television after the results came in.
What's the old song? You don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Trump in a Republican primary. And that's what Thomas Massey has done by becoming his chief antagonist in the U.S. House. And this became really a referendum on, is Thomas Massey on the team or not? And Trump said he wasn't.
That's true.
Now, Scott's absolutely right. What Kentucky 4 came down to was, bottom line, Trump's vision of MAGA versus...
Like right now, the people cramp out the EBT cards. They can't get no sugary drinks. They mad they can't get no sugary drinks now. That's y'all fault. Get off the government, card and all that. Get off the plantation of the card. Y'all can buy your own sugary drinks. And they complain about it now. And then the illegals, caused it too. Let the illegals come in, everything got exposed.
Was Massey's vision. And the two collided. And Trump basically said, hey, Kentucky 4, if you want my vision enacted, you got to get rid of this guy right now. And the voters followed suit overwhelmingly. But I don't want you to miss the buried lead in what Scott Jennings just said there. He basically just compared Donald Trump to Superman. Did you hear it? Donald Trump is the Superman of Republican politics. That's how total, how undeniable, how overwhelming Trump's grip on this party has become. And even a CNN panel, albeit with Scott Jennings saying it, is indeed admitting that, which is pretty astonishing given how America's divide is being fueled by the legacy media. I'm sure you're all fully aware of how selective coverage and biased framing shape how people see the news before.
Right, that's what they did, bud.
What's presented as neutral
They went from living in Chicago. They went from living in Chicago police stations and all that in front of the free station in Chicago to living in hotels, cars, on the real. And then people in Chicago were so nasty. They was picking the women's up, doing things with the women. I'm like, y'all silly, y'all nasty. Then you'll hear about that part though, how people was picking these chicks up, Venezuela chicks, taking them home, cops too and all. They was nasty, nasty, nasty.
Fears perception instead of surfacing all the facts. Millions are realizing that news is broken, and luckily there's a solution that helps you see what's being
No problem, Mike. I still be here still. No problem. I'll be back tomorrow too. I usually don't go live on Friday because I be working the weekend shift, but I'll be live tomorrow too. But I still should be here for you, Mike. Let's continue.
Headlines from over 50,000
God bless America. Yes, yes.
And makes it easier to understand what's actually happening. You can see the political bias of each outlet, insights like reliability and outlet ownership, and how
like, share, and subscribe. Name's Deunta. Thank you guys being in the chat. Thank you.
Downloaded Ground News. Check it out for yourself at ground.news/Steve. My favorite feature is the blind spot feed. It shows you which stories are blowing up on one side of the aisle, but barely mentioned on the other. It's the American politics. It is genuinely unprecedented in American political history. No president, not Ronald Reagan, not FDR, not Abraham Lincoln, has ever remade his own party so completely, so rapidly, and so permanently as Donald Trump has remade the Republican Party. Reagan brought a new coalition to the GOP. Yes, for sure, particularly the Christian coalition, evangelicals. They, up until that point, had been voting Democrat. But the donor class and the establishment remained. The neoconservatives remained. The old guard remained. The Bush machine ended up taking over. Trump didn't leave the old guard in place. He's liquidating it, race by race, state by state, one endorsement at a time. Think about what 37-0 actually means in historical context. You see, presidential endorsements in primaries used to be very rare, even controversial. Presidents were supposed to stay above the fray of party primaries out of respect for the process, out of political caution, out of the unwritten rules of how Washington worked. Trump obliterated that norm starting in 2018. He obliterated again in 2020. He obliterated again in 2022 and 24 and 26.
Subscribe. Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you. Thank you, guys. 2040. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
The old game no longer apply. The old game is over. There is a new game now.
Thank you.
And in
Appreciate
this
that.
new game, it's the people, not the donors, not the consultants, not the editorial boards. It is the people who are the final authority. And the people keep choosing Trump every time without fail. And this is because what's happening in Republican primaries is actually a symptom of something much larger. A civilizational shift in American politics that's only now coming into full view. For 40 years, from roughly 1984 to 2024, American politics operated inside a framework that was set by the political and cultural establishment. The framework said both parties compete for the center. Both parties defer to the expert class. Both parties respect the permanent government, the bureaucracy, the administrative state, the intelligence agencies, the media. And both parties accept at some level that the donor class ultimately gets what it pays for. That was the old framework. MAGA didn't reform that framework. MAGA didn't update it. MAGA burned it down. And here's why that matters on a level that goes beyond politics. For the first time in modern American history, a political movement is being built from the bottom up rather than from the top down. The people at the top of the Republican Party are no longer the people who funded or built its infrastructure. The people at the top are the people who command the loyalty of voters. And that person above all is Donald J. Trump. Remember, Donald J. Trump,
bogus, bud. That's bogus, bud.
Is basically a third-party candidate.
That's why we got to keep on fighting, man.
Nomination.
We got to keep on fighting. We are
going for him in traditional politics.
Americans.
Right? He
We
did not
deserve
have
all
the
this.
Republican apparatus behind him. He didn't have the donor class
That's
behind him.
crazy.
He didn't have the advisor class behind him. He had none of the top-down structures of political order.
I done seen too many veterans in Chicago sleeping under viaducts on Roosevelt, Chicago, on Wells. I can keep on going with these names of the streets. It makes no sense. As soon as illegals came over from Valenzuela, whatever you want to call it, from different parts, flood Chicago, nice cars, kicking it, buying up all type of sugary drinks and food, living the best life, and they live in downtown. And downtown is very expensive. They was down there living it up.
Behind him. He came from the bottom up. The people, a new movement, a mass MAGA movement, overwhelmed the Republican Party and put Donald Trump in charge. This is a genuinely new thing in American political life. And 37-0 is its latest proof of concept. Trump has flipped working class voters who had voted Democrat for generations. He rebuilt the GOP's coalition around a fundamentally new demographic base, less college educated, more ethnically diverse, more working class, and more genuinely populous than anything the Republican Party had seen since before the New Deal. He moved the party on trade, on immigration, on foreign policy, on Wall Street, on pharmaceutical companies, on the administrative state, all in ways that the old GOP donor class despised. And he won. And he kept winning. And he just won 37-0 on Tuesday night. The American Golden Age is not an accident. It is the product of a political revolution that has been building since 2015 and is now 11 years later at its absolute zenith. The people who told you it was a fluke were wrong. The people who told you it would fade away were wrong. The people who told you the establishment would reassert itself were catastrophically wrong. What you're witnessing right now is what it looks like when a people, a true national people, take their government back. Welcome to Trump.
What up, Jarnell? What up, bro?
Welcome to the Golden Age. And thank you for making it happen. Before you go, let me say this.
I gotta pay my girl Trish. It's been a while since I played her. See what she got going on. Let's see, it was about an hour ago. Let's see.
Starmer's learning the hard way. Keir Starmer is learning the hard way that people don't like high taxes and high immigration. Oh, this is a good one. Recently, when he just was massacred there in recent elections, you had GB.
Good morning, bro.
Really good. I guess
What up, Jarnell?
right?
Good morning, bro.
They've got some entertaining stuff. And this guy was on TV explaining it all in a nutshell. I want to go to this, and I also want to show you what the
Thank you,
conservatives
guys. Man,
are
we
saying.
growing. Thank
It's
you.
good. It's good. Coming out of the whole Unite the Kingdom rally. Wow. Take a peek, guys.
As I speak, Labour has lost more than 1,300 seats, apparently. They have lost Wales for the first time in 100 years. The Labour First Minister in Wales lost her seat. People just didn't like 20-mile-an-hour speed limits, becoming a nation of sanctuary for the third world and terrible healthcare, did they? So there you go. Sunderland's gone. Newcastle's gone. They've lost control of Camden. They've lost Westminster. And I can't think why.
بالقوائم سوف نقوم بإرسال معلومات إضافية إليكم مباشرة. شكرا.
Right, especially because they can't get their way. They're going to turn their back on you. That's crazy. And we live here. We born here.
Because they kept advertising free stuff to foreigners who didn't speak our language.
Right, they're putting the people that's not even born here with the Constitution. And the idiots, the lefts and the Democrats, what the Democrats, what they're doing is the lefties, they both idiots, wants to fight for them. They're not even born here. They're not part of the Constitution, nowhere near in the Constitution. But keep telling idiots, the leftists keep falling for it, that we losing our votes. No, we not.
And people decided they didn't really fancy any more of that. In Birmingham, they've lost seats to this lot.
One independent,
Thank you, Janelle. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
I've been with the Labour Party previously, been campaigning against Ayub Khan, now standing as independents. No, we don't want people like that.
Chat, Janelle is one of my old high school buddies, man. Went to high school together. Good friend of mine. Brother from another mother.
Gosh, Labour losing because of mass immigration of people from various different Muslim countries. I mean, why else might Labour have lost out in Birmingham?
Coming to the butcher's with me, door open, rubbish everywhere. Oh, hello, sir. You work in the butcher's, obviously, or are you just carrying around a sheep? Looks like
And he's a great father, too. Jarnell's a great father as well. Great father, great husband, great man.
Goat?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Oh, it's the bin strike as well, isn't it? The bin strike.
Okay,
everywhere.
all right.
And also, we also, at the same time, coincidentally, we got our wives, our sisters. Coincidentally, we didn't know what I'm saying. It didn't happen to be, but it ended up being that way. So we both also not just brothers, we both are brother-in-laws. Life is great.
So you get the point. In other words, they get a theme going on, not to mention very difficult living standards in that taxes.
I ain't know we would mention that. I'm saying being live and not, but yeah, we definitely got sisters we married to. My wife, the oldest sister. His wife, the little sister. Me and my wife don't get no kids together. By the time we got together, all her kids already been married and had things from there. But other than that, let's continue.
Very, very high. You don't get to keep much of anything. There's no industry there. I was looking at a report recently that looked at the per capita income in the UK, and it's actually below any state in the US of A. If the UK were to join us, they would be
It was meant to happen, bro. It was meant to be.
in the entire United States of America. And it's, for no reason.
And it's crazy too, Chad, because when it came to his kids, they kept coming to the house. What up, Jeffrey? Jeffrey in the chat. This Jigga Richardson, that's my homie from school from years back. Now we brothers-in-laws. We both married the sisters. My wife, the oldest. His wife, the youngest. And so yeah, we just letting the people know in the chat who we are. And he's a good brother, man. Good people. Yeah, it's crazy. So other than that, when it came to his kids coming to see and visit me and my wife at home before we got married, I'm like, man, something about these kids, something about them. She's like, well, they my sister's kids. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but the energy, something about the energy. I'm like, man. So like years kind of went by, and then eventually my wife went to a picture album, and she opened it up, and she went to her and her sister. Then also there's a picture of Janelle hugging Tiffany. That's what his wife is. I'm like, whoa, I know, dude. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I went to school with him. It's my high school buddy, man. And called each other, and here we are. And then now I'm married. Now we married. Wow. Wow. It's crazy. It's a blessing. So everything happened for a reason. Everything happened for a reason.
Other than, their own fault. I'm sorry, but this is what it's coming to, folks. And this is why, Kier, time is running out for you. Time is up. You saw what happened there with Unite the Kingdom. I want to go to the Vice President's comments on that in just a moment. But first, this woman is unbelievable. This woman is just, she's
Thanks for listening, Chad. Thanks for listening.
Conservative.
Thank you guys for
They're
listening.
in the UK. She was originally born in Nigeria. And I'll tell you, if I could swap her out with a few members of Congress here, some squad members, maybe in particular, that would be darn good, because her name is Kemi Badenoch. Maybe you know her, maybe you don't, but she's the leader of the conservative movement there. Nigel Farage has a different wing in the conservative movement, but she's got the Conservative Party, and she just lit it up here. This is just within the last day in Parliament. Fantastic stuff. Let's go to Kemi. Oh, we're going to get this. I know we're going to get this because she's great, and I want you to see it. We're going to try one more time. Kemi, and I'm just going to call her Kemi right now because I'm worried that I'm just sort of brutalizing her last name, if you would. But you think about what's going on here overall, right? With Keir Starmer now facing this pressure because he's not able to deliver, and people see it as, gosh, darn it, this guy just keeps on effectively taking from those that are earning and giving to those who are not. Here we go. I think I can play her now.
He is so deep in the bunker, Mr. Speaker. He's importing sanctioned Russian oil. He's nationalizing steel. He's imposing price controls in the supermarket. It's like the Soviets won. This country needs a government that has got its act together, Mr. Speaker. Instead, what we have is a prime minister hanging by a thread, fake support from his backbenchers, too scared to take difficult decisions, losing his moral compass by backsliding on Ukraine. Yes, he is. Mr. Speaker, the shakes of their head are so feeble. It's so feeble. He has got... It's absolutely laughable, Mr. Speaker. It's absolutely laughable. Yesterday, we saw them huddled in the corridors talking about Andy Burnham and West Streeting. The fact is, he's got a cabinet fighting to replace him.
Good morning.
Part is, they aren't getting rid of him over his terrible agenda. No, they actually like it. They just want a better salesman. So isn't it the case, Mr. Speaker, that it doesn't matter who replaces him The real problem is the Labour Party.
The Labour Party, of course, is what Keir is supposed to be steering, and it's just collapsing in real time. And I think we really saw that put on display over the weekend when you saw the Unite the Kingdom rally, and Tommy Robinson, who's been a kind of a lightning rod for a lot of people, led that one. And you had a lot of great conservatives, even from this side of the pond over there, championing him. And J.D. Vance was asked about this. And I think that the reporter that asked, actually, it was Gateway Pundit. So if it had been a British reporter, I'm sure that the British reporter would have
Good morning,
expected
Matt.
JD to just slam. That's where they want things to go. But in fact, the Gateway Pundit knew probably exactly what he was going to get, because I'm sure Gateway Pundit was all for what was going on. And so was JD. Okay, so here he is answering the message. What did you think about the Unite the Kingdom rally that happened over the weekend? And JD let him have it in a good way.
To everybody in the UK who rejects that idea, I'd encourage them to just keep on going. It's okay to want to defend your culture. It's okay to want to live in a safe neighborhood. It's okay to want your job to go to yourself and your neighbors and not to a stranger who you don't even know. It is reasonable for the people in Western societies to want to control who comes into their country and who doesn't. A lot of people, frankly, a lot of people in the media have tried to persuade all of those people that it's somehow racist to want to protect your borders, even though very often the very people who are most affected by low-wage immigration are lower-income Black and Hispanic Americans right here in the United States of America, and I guarantee that's true in the UK.
Yeah. Okay, because you know what? Human beings, we're kind of simple. You know, you don't need to overthink this one, guys. It's, you know, meet some basic needs and give the opportunity for everybody to have a better life. And, you know, as that disappears, they're going to get kind of upset and they're going to get kind of annoyed. And that's what's going on. You think about why Europe was founded in the way it was. And I'm going to the post-World War II Europe, okay? Because foundings are, you know, we're going way, way back hundreds of years. And that would take a long time. But I'm just going to quickly sort of give you the synopsis of what we've seen in the last 81 years or so. Post-World War II, we came in. We were the only show in town because we were the only ones that had the gold. Really, I mean, because they had bombed each other out of all their gold. And so we had all the gold. And so we were kind of in charge. And we said, okay, we'll put in this Marshall Plan because we want to help you rebuild. We're going to make sure that Germany never gets a military ever. Well, that's changing now. Trump, he's a whole new world, right? He's opened it up. Defense minister in Germany has never had such a day as when he could publish his 35-page report, the first one ever from the Defense Department in Germany since World War II. Anyway, so post-World War II, we come in with the Marshall Plan and we say, okay, well, maybe this is the idea. And we work with the Europeans on this and we come up with this theory that if you just give everybody enough, that'll be enough. And that then you won't have any kind of populism or fascism.
The daycares, they're not going to show you what's right on the heels of disgraced former FBI Director James Comey making a very eerie, creepy public statement about FBI agents and other intelligence officers, telling them to wait it out until Trump is out of office. You're not going to believe this. Plus, mentally Ilhan Omar, our favorite Taliban terrorist congresswoman, in the news, and it's really bad boogie for her. You don't want to miss this. We got some breaking news for her. Also, President Trump, did he just give an endorsement to Spencer Pratt? I don't know. You'll have to decide for yourself. It's very strange. But first, let's jump right into it. Check out this clip of James Comey. So he's disgraced. He lied. He's now being indicted by a grand jury. And it seems like on national television, he makes a call to action regarding the deep state. Watch this.
Not looked at from the top level. The people running it, if you're bragging about forcing out career prosecutors and agents because the president doesn't like a lawful investigation they conducted, something is seriously broken at the top. But I have great confidence in the people down below who are just trying to hang on. And I'm urging them, hang on 2.5 years, and then we can rebuild these institutions. But we need good people in those roles. America does.
This guy puts a message in the sand saying 86-47. Our president has faced 4 assassination attempts. There's been other insidious violence rampant across our entire union, our entire republic. He is 1,000,000,000% involved in one of the greatest, most elaborate, treasonous coups ever committed on U.S. soil in the Russia collusion and Arctic frost hoax. He was just a minion of Obama, as Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard confirms. And now he has the audacity. Why are you even on television? You're done, Comey. You're worthless. You're useless. You've done nothing but betray your country. Why he's getting a platform, a public platform, to say anything or why anybody would listen is completely beyond me. But wait till you hear Trump's badass.
This will be the last video for the day. I'll be back tomorrow, but this will be the last video for the day. I'll be back tomorrow, but let's continue.
Response. Oh, you're so lucky, America.
Again, Mr. President, you suggested that there's still people in your DOJ and FBI that are waiting you out. They're waiting until your administration is over to get back to work. Do you think those people are still in the DOJ and FBI?
I hope not. Well, we're going to seek
No
them
problem,
out.
Mike. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. Appreciate it.
Okay, because you have in every agency, you have scum. And certainly they did.
I used to be off on Friday, so since I'm off tomorrow, I'm come in tomorrow for you guys. So I'm taking care of some stuff around the house as well myself. Let's continue.
In the FBI and DOJ, but Todd Blanche is doing a fantastic job. Cash is doing a very good job. So we will prevail. I've been standing here a long time with you, many years, right? And they've been saying, I think it's it. I think he's troubled. Here I am, It's a very constant situation, but I think you're going to find that we have great people in the FBI, and we have great people in DOJ.
So I will be back again tomorrow.
Frankly, we're going to hunt them down. They're scum of the earth, and we're going to take them out, right? Can you believe it? Everything I've done, they try to undermine me at every turn, which is why I watch Professor Nance. Thank you, Mr. President. I love you. He is so badass. I love it. And by the way, speaking of Todd Blanche, this is really breaking news right here. Check this out. DOJ indicts former Cuban President Raul Castro for his role in the 1996 shoot-down of 2 civilian aircraft that ended the lives of 4 people. He's facing charges for murder and conspiring to kill U.S. nationals. Todd Blanche said, quote, "If you kill Americans, we will pursue you, no matter who you are, no matter what title you hold, and in this case, no matter how much time has passed." So President Trump just showing again and again how this guy is a master, dragon master of foreign policy implementation and global affairs. It is just so beautiful to watch. Every single president has talked about Venezuela, talked about Iran, talked about Cuba, talked about the Middle East, talked about Europe, talked about all of these things, but have done absolute goose egg. The reason they're mad, the reason they're pissed off is they're blinded by their pure, vile, bile hatred of our president, President Trump. And it all has to do with this woke
How you doing, Robbie?
press corps
What up,
that
what
has
up?
polluted the citizenry that are pretty much our neighbors, our coworkers, our family members. It's really, really tragic. Okay. Woo, do I have some groundbreaking news for you. Holy macadamia nut. You love her, I love her. Mentally Ilhan Omar. Minnesota fraud mastermind Amy Bach just revealed that Somalia Representative Ilhan Omar knew about the $250 million feeding our future fraud scandal. Check this out. Wow. You want to talk about misinformation? You want to talk about defrauding the American public? If you or anybody you know is dealing with, the complexity, the absolute red tape and confusion of Medicare, I have partnered.
Learned that Omar's name came up 6 times in the case against Amy Bach, the founder of Feeding Our Future. Now, Bach spearheaded the scheme, which stole federal funds intended for children and was convicted of wire fraud, conspiracy, and bribery. Ilhan Omar's name first came up in an email chain with Bach back in February 2021. The subject line read, "Help with USDA food program," and a message to Omar's office. Now, about 2 weeks later, Bach emailed Omar's office with the subject line, FNS approves Minnesota school PEBT plan. Then 1 day later, Bach exchanged messages with this Feeding Our Future employee who fled the country after he was indicted in 2022. The subject line of their emails was Ilhan's office. And the emails kept flowing after that. In March, Bach emailed Omar's office again about the state's school food program. There were also text messages between Bach and Omar's office, which was uncovered during a raid of Bach's Minnesota house. Now, while we know Omar's office was communicating with a now convicted fraudster, we don't know the contents of those messages or if Omar herself engaged in any wrongdoing. In a jailhouse interview with Fox, this is how Bach described those conversations.
Did you have any conversations with Ilhan Omar that make you kind of think twice now?
I've never actually spoken to her. I had spoken to members of her office. It was always really general, mostly pertaining to how the Department of Education was handling applications and the approval or denial of those. There was nothing of any substance pertaining to claims or meal counts or fraud or anything like that.
But Omar's ties to Feeding Our Future don't start and end with Amy Bach. She also had close ties with one
You
of
gotta
the
lock her up, man, and deport her. Get her up out of here, man.
Safari Restaurant. Back in 2018, she
That's
celebrated
crazy.
her primary win at the very spot. And records
Right, you get videos of right there.
show she spent nearly $10,000 in campaign funds there between 2018 and 2020. It's over $3,000 a year. The food must be so great to spend that much at a restaurant. And check this out. We unearthed this 2020 video of Ilhan Omar on Somali TV working inside Safari Restaurant. She
Wow.
speaks exclusively in Somalian. We were able to make out these words: Pandemic, Meals Act, and Safari Restaurant. The chair of the Minnesota Fraud Committee also revealing Ilhan Omar received donations from several Feeding Our Future defendants. And that last name on the list right there, that's a former staffer for Omar who pled guilty.
She gotta go.
Yeah, I'm sure she knew nothing about it, right? I'll buy that for $1. Here's Nick Shirley right here, who spoke recently saying she's the most despicable
Only in
person
America.
he's ever come across.
Ilhan Omar. Is she really out of all of them? She has been so silent about this fraud that it speaks so much as to how involved she is in the fraud. If she had nothing to do with the fraud, she would be able to defend herself. But instead of defending herself, she's gone completely silent, not even trying to work with anybody.
Okay, bud.
She knows that billions and billions of dollars has been lost, but she won't even work with investigators, or she won't even work with local media, and she won't even. They gave her the option to. They gave her a final date to say, give some of the information about the Feeding Our Future fraud that she's involved in. She couldn't give any information. I mean, she lost $29 million over the course since I.
That sounds exactly like what happened in California, where Dr. Oz and Bobby Kennedy both said that they shut down like over 200, 500 hospices, which were all fraudulent, and not a single one called and said, "Why did you shut this down? We're legitimate." So taking away all bias, okay? I know some people watching this might be like, "Oh, you're such a MAGA this, you're just a Trump, troll or whatever." No. Take away all bias. Take away all bias. Wouldn't you think if she truly loved America, truly represented Minnesotans, truly represented her constituents, she wouldn't be like, "Holy mackerel, you uncovered what?" At the very least, let's just give Nick Shirley zero credit, okay? Let's just say he is a troll. Let's just say, which I don't believe. I think he's amazing. He deserves a Pulitzer Prize. Let's say, because that's all they do is they attack him and saying he's just a weird, creeping into daycares. They're not going to show you what's going on if you creep in with a microphone. Okay, let's say he's a creep. Just the mere fact that there has been some echoes, some rumblings that something is amiss. Wouldn't you, at the very least, if you were a true representative, wouldn't you at the very least say, "Hey, let me just at least look into this and see what's going on. It seems to be getting a lot of airplay, a lot of virality. Let me at least kind of address this and investigate." No, not one. She just attacks, personal ad hominem, calls him a racist, just like they all do. The same thing that they all do, the Democrats. They just cry. It's racist to fight crime. It's racist to discover fraud. It's racist to want, to help people
Calm
have
down,
violent
Brian.
acts committed on them by illegals.
Ain't no need
It's
for all
racist
that,
to
man.
go
What is you
over.
doing? What
It's
is you?
racist.
Come on, now. Ain't
Well,
that
check
serious?
this out. I think this is probably one of the most extreme measures I've seen. Representative Nancy Mace actually calling for this. She posted this on X. Ilhan Omar, Shri
You see,
Tanadar,
Jeffrey got the
Pramila
blue
Jayapal,
shield,
all
so
born in foreign countries.
and Jeffrey, when you
None
get
were
out of here,
citizens
you can
by
get him
birth,
out of
all
here.
sitting in the United States Congress, all making clear every single day their loyalty is not to America. So she has actually introduced a new initiative going through Congress right now to basically say that natural-born citizens only are allowed to serve in the United States governor. I don't know. I feel like we're living in very strange times. I feel like this should kind of be a no-brainer, but I don't know. Let me know how you guys feel about this. I haven't had a lot of time to dig into what the actual provisions entail, but I'd really like to hear your thoughts on all this. Do you think that only people born natural-born citizens of the United States should be able to serve in the United States government? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Yes.
I couldn't talk about
Yes.
Ilhan Omar without
I agree 100%.
master troll,
Because you get trash like this.
Trump. this
Yeah, you get trash like her, and then what's the other lady? She want reparations for the illegals. Reparations for the illegals, but not for us. I think she's not 100% born here as an American. So yeah, no, born here, yes, you can be in Congress and elected. If not, no.
This wasn't even that long ago. This was only a few days ago. President Trump talking about mentally Ilhan Omar. Check this out.
Without you, we have Somalia. Okay, a fine place where we have a congresswoman who brilliantly came over to the country by marrying her brother. That was the first law she broke. That was the least of them. And she comes from a country where they have nothing but crime, bedlam, filth, a horrible place. They say it may be the worst place. Comes to our country, and then she tells us how to run the United States of America. It's an amazing thing. Ilhan Omar. It's an amazing thing how they can get away with it, and the people don't want that to happen. And hopefully you'll figure it out. But a very terrible thing. I can't stand it. She says, the Constitution gives me certain rights. Go back to your own country, talk about a Constitution. They don't have a Constitution. They never will.
Without you, we have Somalia. Great country. Here's my question, Ryan. If you love being Somalian so much, why are you here? It's obvious you hate America, right? She always talks bad and complains nonstop. Why don't you go back to your country if you hate it here so much? I agree, Mr. President. They cry that there's white supremacy, Nazis, racism.
But she's married to a white man.
Downplay, downgrade, defame, disrespect our beautiful country. Every single time they open their raw sewage mouth, they disrespect our country. Why are you here? I don't get it. Okay, the last story, maybe you can tell me in the comments. Okay. A lot of people are talking about this. President Trump on Spencer Pratt. I don't know if I would call this an endorsement, but I'll let you decide. Watch.
Spencer Pratt, do you see yourself in him at all? A former reality TV star?
No, I'd like to see him do well. He's a character. I don't know him. I assume he probably supports me. Does he support me? I think so, yeah. I heard he does. I heard he's a big MAGA person. He's doing well. I don't know. If you have a rigged vote out there, that's the problem. The votes are rigged. You have a really rigged vote in California. You have all the mail-in ballots, everything else. Very hard to win because the elections are very dishonest. If we had Jesus Christ come down and count the votes, I would have won California because I do great with Hispanics. But it's a rigged vote. They send out 38 million votes. Nobody knows where they're going. Of course, the Democrats, I guess. Disproportionately, Democrats get many more votes. Some get 8 votes. They get 8 cards. And Republicans have to call in, where's my card? It's a rigged system. One of the most, not the worst, I'll give you a list. Maybe I'll do my list. But California is one of the most dishonest states for
I don't know if I'd call that an endorsement. Doesn't sound like it to me, but it's close enough. And if you saw what happened last night with Massey and
What up,
everyone
Mr. Rick?
defied the will of the American people, because that's who President Trump represents. You defy Trump, you defy the will of the American people. We voted for all of this. I voted thrice, 3 times for this. Let me know if you did too. Tap that thumbs up if you love America. We should use to make common sense go viral. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, just in case you missed them. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. And as always,
Pretty appreciate you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Once again, I used to be off Monday through Thursday, but I'm off tomorrow because it's the holiday. So I'll be back tomorrow for you guys. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Let's keep on praying for each other. They're going to wake up. We're going to get them woken up. Thank you.